Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.
Oscast. The Mental Health Show with Mark Haston.
Hey Matthew, welcome. Tell me about this exciting program.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So basically, here in South Australia, we've been able to put together this great online platform where people can come online for free. They register just like you would for a Facebook or anything like that, and you can complete a really quick survey and get an individualized sort of report which describes how you're doing in terms of your own mental health and well-being.
What made you put the program together? How did it start?
So I work for an organisation called the Wellbeing and Resilience Centre, and we're based at SAHMRI, which is the research institute there on North Terrace, for people that are familiar with Adelaide, I guess.
Yep.
And there are a few reasons, I guess, for us. The mission of our centre is to be help spreading the word around about mental health and well-being and resilience, and this is a really great place to start, because not only does it sort of teach you where you're at, which is a really important thing to know, it also helps to give you some tips about where you could be, basically, some ways to improve some of the elements of your mental health that you'd like to. And for us, when you talk about mental health, we're often talking about mental illness.
Yep.
And so this is a really important opportunity for us, basically, because when you get that report back, what you see is a few different domains that we measure in terms of your mental health and well-being. So this is your well-being, your resilience, and your well-being sort of gets broken down into different parts, but levels of negative mood, anxiety, and stress. And I think what's really helpful to people to understand is you might be doing poorly in one of those things, but actually that doesn't mean you're doing badly across all of them. So it's a bit of a learning opportunity.
Yeah, that's a good. So it's educating people as well.
Absolutely, that's the plan. There's this idea around, I guess, about well-being literacy, and it's a little bit like health literacy. So it's the idea that basically, if you're looking to improve your health, you need to sort of first understand where you're at and have the knowledge about how to actually improve it. And I guess our sense is that when we talk to people, if you sort of said to the average person on the street, go out there and improve your health, they'd actually know what you're talking about. They'd think to themselves, I need to improve my physical activity, my sleep, I need to eat better. Whereas if you were to say to someone, go out there and improve your mental health, I don't think many people would have a clear idea of where to start. So that's kind of what we're trying to work on here.
And as part of all of that, as we know, people are talking about mental health more these days, but you're also instigating that well, in this case, it's probably an internal discussion, which is very important.
Well, absolutely. And so we were really careful about how we measured these things that we talk about in this online tool. And what we've gone with is some surveys that are out there. They've been sort of validated around the world. So we know that they are measuring the things that we're talking about. But not only that, they sort of come with what we call cut points or cut-off points. So we can sort of put you into those rough bands of things you're doing, things that you're doing well with, things that you could improve on, and things that you might actually want to take action with. And the reason why we do that is rather than being sort of a score out of 10, like what's a 7 out of 10, what does that actually mean for me? What this does is it sort of gives you a bit more of a clear reference point. And what we sometimes hear is that people sort of come back and they look at their report and say, actually, it's told me that my level of stress is actually, something that I should be thinking about. And maybe that's just something that's become normal for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm interested in those three elements you mentioned earlier. Give me an example of something that someone could be doing or should be doing that they wouldn't know until they do this course.
So it's hard to say, I guess, because we all come from different places. But for example, somebody who might be struggling with levels of, negative mood, so it's a bit of an indicator of depression. A really clear one, this is not obviously a psychological one, but one of them might be just to get a little bit more physically active.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we know there's absolutely a link between those two things. When it comes to, so that's a clear one, but I guess that's in that crossover between physical and mental health. But when it comes to things like levels of well-being, there are things in there that you might find that you're low in, like having a sense of purpose or a sense of that you're not connected to a community, for example. And
yes.
So we know that these are really, really important things for your mental well-being. And so there are some tips and tricks around, how to get involved in a community, some ways to think about meaning and purpose in your life that you might not have otherwise sort of focused on.
Yeah, and when you're unwell, you tend to retreat anyway, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why we're really in favour. That I don't know how many researchers you've come across, but basically every researcher thinks that their theory is the best one, and so there are plenty of researchers out there who are focused on well-being, and they have their own sort of variations of what they mean when they say well-being. And the one that we sort of work with is a really holistic one that does include sort of like what they call the life satisfaction side of things. So having, positive emotions and being satisfied with your life, but it also includes sort of more like personal development things, like having a sense of meaning, a sense of growth, a feeling of control over your life or autonomy. And then it also includes that sort of that social element as well. So this is about feeling like you're part of a community that you understand and that you're interested in contributing to as well.
And it's really timely, isn't it? Because all of those things you just mentioned just prior are things that a lot of people would not be feeling, or they would be feeling, I should say. They wouldn't be feeling a sense of purpose and a sense of confidence about the future as a result of what's gone on with COVID.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, exactly. We do a little bit. So the other side of this online platform that we're talking about, we've called it the Be Well Tracker, because it's this idea that you can sort of track your mental health over time. We have a couple of hundred people say use it a month in this last year, just from the projects that we do at SAHMRI. We haven't sort of put it out broadly like we're planning to do in Mental Health Week, but that's the plan. What we saw from our data is that from the mostly South Australian cohorts that we have using our platform, we did see a big dip in mental health and well-being, especially around April, which is when the lockdown really sort of came into play here in SA. But the really cool thing is that as we've continued to watch the data, basically every month we've gotten closer and closer back to where we were sort of this time last year, or at least late last year. So it's kind of been, I think I've explained it before, as like the experiment that no one really asked for or no one wanted. But basically we took away all of the things that we know help us to build our sense of well-being. And we saw from our data that it actually does drop off. So, this is things like recreation, local sporting clubs, gyms, places of worship and churches, but as well as, of course, like certainty in the future and a sense of control of your future life.
Yeah.
And even employment as well. That's the other one.
Well, employment's obviously a very important one, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And with a lot of people, when they lose their job, they lose their identity. Obviously, they lose out financially, which is a worry for them. But a lot of people, particularly people who have been doing a role for a long, long time, that's how they judge themselves. They base their well-being and their confidence and their self-esteem on their job, which is a danger. Do you have some thoughts on that? I'd be interested.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget, I went to a conference in New Zealand, and there was an Australian researcher there looking at some Australian data, and he showed basically that the impact on males, the impact of retrenchment or losing their job was as significant as losing a spouse.
Yeah.
So they sort of showed that basically it takes about 5 years to recover from either of those things.
Wow.
So it's really, I think we all sort of think that it's very important, and for the people that have been through it, they know how much of an impact it's had on their lives. But I don't think we actually grasp the real magnitude of these things.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think even changing jobs. If someone's been in a role for a long time, and a company or a business changes the way they do things, and then they say, look, you're still going to have a job and you're still going to get paid. It'll be the same. It might even be more, but you're going to do something slightly different. People don't. I think, particularly at the moment, people don't like change.
Yeah, definitely. That idea of uncertainty and that loss of sense of control, it's really important for mental health.
Yeah. So can you give me just a brief overview as to what the platform looks like in its infancy? In other words, if I were to go in now, what sorts of things, what sorts of tasks, what type of questions would I be asked in the first instance?
So the way that it works is that the way that we're planning to roll it out, I guess, for Mental Health Week is that we'll ask people to register for the platform, and we'll start doing that over the next 2 weeks. So we're about 2 or 3 weeks out from Mental Health Week.
Yep.
And so that'll be like a bit of a pre-registration. And then on the 9th of October, so just in time for Mental Health Week, we'll actually send everyone out an online invitation basically to the platform. So they'll get that as an email.
Yep.
So like I said, you sign up sort of just like a Facebook, just first name, last name, email address, that kind of thing. And you run straight into the survey. And so the survey is about 50 questions. It takes 10 minutes roughly. And it's questions around your own sort of levels of satisfaction with various aspects of your life, basically. So, for example,
I was just going to say, for example, how satisfied are you with work? How satisfied are you with your body? How satisfied are you with your relationship with your wife or your partner?
Exactly. So it's not intrusive in any way.
Right.
It's the other thing that we really need to stress is that it's not a clinical diagnosis. So this is not something that's going to sort of diagnose you with a mental illness. Although we do, and that's the other side of the platform, is that if somebody does throw up some scores that are quite concerning, they'll receive some really tailored information around where you might actually like to seek help from a professional, which we also think is really important. So the other side of the idea around the platform is it's totally anonymous. So for us, when the platform was built, it was just around that time of the controversy of I guess, Facebook sharing all of that data. So It was a really nice learning moment for us to understand how important data security is. Obviously, we already sort of knew, but the platform was built to what they call the highest international data standards of data security. And it's protected by research ethics as well. So it means that participants and their responses are never connected, and their identity is completely saved. So it's something that people can go on. So we really believe that it's out there for free as a really useful resource, basically, for people's mental health. And it's just a helpful, it's a check-in, basically, So what we're hoping for in the future is that people might like to do this as an annual thing in Mental Health Week. Just to check in. Of course, if they'd like to do it every 6 months or every 3 months, they're absolutely welcome to do that. It's been really pleasing that, so we at the SAHMRI, we've developed an online, a training program basically to improve mental health, and we've done that in collaboration with Flinders University.
Just say that again. You just dropped out. What was that again? You've developed.
Oh, sorry. I was saying we've been working for the last few years to develop a wellbeing program, which is something that you actually do in a group format. And what I think is really cool and really new about the program, there are a lot of things, but we actually get people to take the survey of the Be Well tracker basically at the start of the program, and then in the last week as well. And so people can sort of see, it's a 5-week program. You've been working on your mental health and your well-being for 5 weeks. Well, let's see if we see any changes. And it's actually been a really rewarding experience to see some people recognize in their own life that actually this thing is kind of telling me I've been working hard on this idea, and it's giving me a bit of a benchmark to work to. Yeah. The other idea is that for some people, they don't see change, and we go into why that might be the case as well. But it's just, we really like comparing our work, I guess, to physical health. And I guess when you go to the gym and you run on the treadmill, it's really easy to see progress. the same is not really the case when it comes to your mental health. So this is something that tries to make that a little bit clearer.
That's excellent. I love the idea. So how was the idea born? Were you interested in this yourself?
Look, I've been working in this space for 5.5 years, I think now, nearly 6 years. Always at SAHMRI, which is really fortunate for me as a South Australian, basically, that we've got such good work happening here. And I guess the idea is born. So I work, like I said, this organisation. We're a non-for-profit sort of business, and we do research to sort of to test the work that we do and to make sure that we're actually having the effect that we say we do. And we've just known, I guess, from the research, but also from our interactions with people, is that it's just a really missing gap. Basically, people don't have these tools. A lot of people would learn some of the skills that we have in the program, and definitely in the sort of the online measurement program, but also in the 5-week course. These are skills that people often do learn in therapy, when they get to a psychologist, and that's absolutely fantastic. Our idea with some of this work is that we can actually make it available to people before that, so they can sort of be working to get the most out of their own mental health and well-being, before they really need it, basically. That's
really interesting. Have you had a chance to do any research or talk to any psychologists or psychiatrists about this?
Yeah, we have, and we've been working really closely with Flinders University and their psychology department. So they've helped us with the development of a lot of this work.
Brilliant.
It's a lot of health has moved towards prevention and promotion. And mental health is the next one, to move in that direction. It's been happening for a while, and we're really excited to see the progress, basically.
Are the psychologists and psychiatrists, are they in favour of and excited about this? Do they feel as though they might be able to genuinely use that information prior to seeing the patient? Is that part of the idea?
Yeah, that is a potential future, I guess. We've had some interest, I guess, as we've been promoting this particular project. We've had some private practices contact us and say that this is something they'd be really keen to sort of spread with their clients.
Wonderful.
Particularly because there's a bit of an issue at the moment with wait lists, basically. So people that are looking for services often have to sort of be patient on a wait list. And the idea is that this might be something useful to help at least a proportion of those people on the wait list who might be suitable to this as a minimum intervention.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I think the more information they can get, the better. Does the online course at all involve any advice on medication?
No. So what we do with the program is we really pull apart the difference between mental illness and mental well-being, basically.
Gotcha.
So mental well-being being that the topics that we've spoken about so far, but we're really keen on this idea that mental illness and mental health are not the same thing. They're two separate things, but of course they're both really important. And so the idea is that for a lot of people, I guess, with a mental illness, they've really focused on that mental illness, that itself, and really focused primarily on reducing the symptoms. And what we're sort of suggesting, and what the research supports, is that in addition to a focus on reducing your symptoms and managing your mental illness, you can actually also be focusing on promoting your own mental health and your own mental well-being,
Yeah, and that has a ripple effect as well with family members, friends and the like.
For sure. And I think if you go to the physical health example, if we think about someone, who might have diabetes or something like that, of course they should be, taking their medication and being involved with a health practitioner. But at the same time, they'll still benefit from, better sleep, better activity, and better and better nutrition. So it's that kind of approach that not only is this beneficial in its own right, it can actually be helpful in the maintenance and the recovery from an illness.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. How broad was your research?
In terms of the program that we've developed, that 5-week course, it's very, very extensive. So we've conducted what's called a meta-analysis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that before, but it's what they call a study of studies. So if you think that, if there are 10 studies have been done on a particular topic, like if we think of, like a drug, like Panadol or something, 10 studies from around the world, some will say it works really well, some will say it worked okay, and others would say it didn't work at all. So a meta-analysis actually pulls those studies together and gives you an average of what is the evidence telling us. And so that's what we really wanted to do for programs to improve mental well-being. And we actually pulled together, it took us ages. It was bigger than what we thought it would be. It was actually 400 studies we pulled together, which is about 10 times bigger than the previous large study that was done in this field. So from that, we've sort of gone around the entire world, pulled together all of the evidence that supports this work. And from that, we were really able to find out what are the most effective things that work to improve mental well-being. What are the behaviors, the activities, the skills that are effective? And for us in the program, what's really important for us is that people start to understand, and in our program, the 5-week program, we do get people to experiment with this. Is just because the evidence suggests that it works doesn't mean it's going to work exactly for you. So that's why we're really happy that we've done this extensive work, because it's given us a bank of activities that people can practice and then tailor to their own lives. And that's why we call that the Be Well plan. So you sort of end up with your own strategy of activities that are evidence-based, but most importantly, you've actually practiced in your own life and started to embed them as behaviors or habits.
That's brilliant. So Matthew, just clear this up for me. So you'll officially launch the platform during Mental Health Week, is that correct?
Yes.
Is it available now?
It is available now. So we've been using it in our work as an evaluation tool, I guess, as a bit of a soft launch. So it is available now in a week. So basically, people can the website where people can go and register will be the bewelltracker.com/register.
And that's available now?
I think that'll be available Monday. So it'll be very soon.
And just give that URL out again.
Yep. So it'll be there's www.bewelltracker.com.
Bewell, BEWELL,
yes.
tracker.com/register. Wonderful. And is it straightforward?
Yeah, so it'll literally be your first name, your last name, and your email address. You can register, and it will give you an automated email that will say, thank you for registering, letting you know that we'll send you out the invitation in a couple of weeks to align with Mental Health Week.
Wonderful. Okay, so you can register now. You can start the program in a couple of weeks.
Exactly that, yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. And the program initially, it's a number of questions, and then it's a program for 5 weeks. Did you say? Oh,
so that there. Sorry. So yeah. Hopefully, I'm not being too confusing. So these are two separate things. So basically, you take the survey, you get that individual report.
Gotcha.
And this is all completely free. And in addition to that, we also have it as a separate offering, that 5-week course.
Gotcha. I got you.
Yeah, cool. Some of the content from the 5 weeks is actually put into the report, though. So it's.
I got you. I got you. That's wonderful, mate. That's how long have you been working on this? How long's the good people, including yourself at SAHMRI, been working on this?
Yeah, we've been focusing on this project itself probably for about 3 years.
Wow.
But yeah. So it's from funding to building this kind of technology, and then testing it and refining it. It takes a while.
Yeah, no, I understand. I know these are technical questions, but so when you say building the platform, who built the platform? Did you guys build the platform, or did you?
No, so we were able to actually put together a bit of a team of contractors, basically, who were able to put that together, all South Australian based, which is really cool.
That's great. So it's all done locally. That's fantastic. And because it's online, it can be used by anyone anywhere in the world.
It can, yeah. So it was actually developed with a grant from the state government, and it's that's why we're really keen to it's there, it's free, it's basically for the state by the state, and it's just another resource basically. The thing for me if we think about Are You OK Day, which we just had last week, the theme of Are You OK Day was there's more to say after Are You OK? You know, the point being that it's not just the question, are you okay? There's actually things you need to be doing to check in with yourself and with others. And I really believe that this platform is one of those things you can be doing, basically, to make this as straightforward and as simple as it can be.
Matthew, I think it's fantastic. I'm really impressed. I think it's wonderful, and you have a great platform to launch it on during Mental Health Week, which obviously, presumably was your plan, I guess. But I think the most important thing is that people know about this, and for you guys to promote it, on my show and doing it here on Zoom so that I can put it on my Facebook page is certainly a great start. And I hope and trust that you're going to get some really good coverage out of this. I think this is really important. It's something that people need to know about. They don't know about it, they won't use it. They don't know about it. So yeah, I think it's a very, very important tool. And I commend you for being involved in it. And I'm presuming, just through hearing what you're saying, that you're very passionate about this topic.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you very much. And like I said, it's a funny world where I guess everyone understands how important prevention is. Everyone understands it. It's just difficult. It's difficult to fund, and it's difficult to get people focused, basically, on these things. And I think mental health is one that really everyone understands the impact of it, particularly mental illness.
Yep.
And we just want to make sure that the tools are out there for those people who do want to start taking the right steps in terms of building their own mental health and well-being. So we're really pleased to be putting this out, and I appreciate your words.
Oh, no, you're to be commended. Matthew, thank you. Thank you so much indeed. That's wonderful. Good luck with it, and perhaps we could have another chat around Mental Health Week, but I'll look forward to the launch, and I'm going to register.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew.
Cheers.
Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.